Hello and welcome to episode 11 of Command Value 1. Tonight we're going to talk about Adepticon. So, we are officially into the start of con season. Donald and Jordan will be traveling all about the continental U.S., standing around in booths, looking sexy, selling product, and running demos.
Well,
or
continental
something.
Midwest anyway.
Sure. And at least doing demos and selling stuff.
I was gonna say, at least one of those is not true.
We are also joined tonight by the founder and owner of the Scald YouTube channel, but we better know him as Overlord Shivak.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome, Josh.
Oh, thanks, Don.
How we doing, Josh?
Oh, doing all right. Just settling back in after Adepticon.
I expect a nickel for plugging your YouTube channel.
It'll come out of my proceeds.
Right.
You'll get a nickel for every new viewer, right?
Yeah.
So you might get 10 cents.
What is fun is when we end up at the same show, though, and I'll do 3 battle reports and you'll do 3 battle reports, and they're never the same games because I'm always at the bottom table. So,
well, don't go to the Skull channel looking for Adepticon recaps. I was only able to get like 2 games in. My equipment just, it failed on me this past weekend. I was disappointed.
well, and you are a bold and brave fellow because you set up and you record like start to finish with no gaps. Whereas I just do turn recaps, so I can do it off my phone really easy.
Well, that's true.
But we can babble about that stuff later on. Let's hop straight in to what is new. And what is new is a new sub-faction, Don? How do we describe these resistance vehicles we were seeing?
So we showed off the Callium Cabal, which they're actually, we did tease the APC at one point. But that was a little while back, so I don't know if anybody remembered it. And then, what was that? That was during the calendar, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so, because if you like right-clicked on the image, it was labeled Resistance Truck.
Yeah, that's what it is, yeah. So that is the Callium version of the Battle Bus. And then there was the Technical, which is the little GP truck. And then the wagon, which looks pretty much like a wagon, just not beat up. So you're going to tell me nothing, but are they basically, I mean, they're just alternative resistance sculpts? At the moment, even I actually don't know where we're taking them. So I think the general idea is that they will eventually become another sub-faction. But
you should take the resistance models all to the same place.
So whether it's to the degree of just having different sculpts for it, or if they'll actually have a new sub-faction playstyle, I think we're still working through it.
Well, I would like to add, thanks for sharing this reveal with On Tabletop before your own podcast.
Well, I had gotten these 2 days before Adepticon, so I didn't really have much choice.
You didn't call. You didn't say, hey, quick, post this on the Command Value 1 page. No, you just told On Tabletop. I see where we rank. Jordan, do you see where we rank?
I see exactly where we rank.
Shit, you were
Jordan got to see it in advance. That's just you.
Right?
Jordan licked the models already.
Yeah. The other thing we showed off for Resistance was the barrel for the what we're now calling the Behemoth. Only the barrel, just the tip. But
that thing looked like it was like a foot long.
Wait, that was just the tip of the barrel that we showed?
So you can imagine the unit that has to carry that thing around. So plenty of pictures up on the...
I'm a little disappointed because I saw it and immediately was hoping for like a weaponized monorail.
Monorail?
Yeah. It looks like the old World War II train guns. I was expecting it would just fit on a custom monorail model that would just run around the track and fire on things.
Well, that'd be partly useless considering the monorail's probably destroyed for the most part.
It goes backwards 10 inches every time it fires.
Right. Then somebody has to install a speaker that just does the monorail song from The Simpsons the whole time.
Monorail, 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 monorail.
So, but yeah, pretty cool show-offs right there. Then again, we showed off the PHR Behemoth in all its glory. So,
That thing's not so big, is it?
No, it's not big at all.
No, it's what, the size of Hades plus Odin?
I don't know. I didn't have a Hades in there to really show it, but it was bigger than the Thunderstorm custom.
Yeah, no, I think it's stupid.
So the initial one that we showed off at Gamma, that had basically the same footprint as the Thunderstorm custom because of the way that they modeled the legs in the painted one. I did mine more squat just to kind of see in comparison how the two differ, and it definitely shadows the footprint for the custom.
Is that going to create problems with the models when they come out? Are people going to be able to model them too tall or too short or too wide?
Well, they'll all have ways to pose them differently, but there isn't. It's not like they're going to be able to like stick them on their tippy toes, and you know what I mean. Challenge
accepted.
There are restrictions to also being able to have them sit flat.
Well, it was nice that you had a couple of reveals, but the big reveals are coming this weekend at Salute, correct?
We definitely have a big reveal coming at Salute. And I thought those were pretty big reveals for Adepticon, too. I mean, they weren't numerous in size.
If you're into crappier factions, I suppose. Okay, reveals.
Thanks.
Josh didn't care.
I mean, we haven't mentioned Scourge yet, so I'm kind of zoning out.
We can mention Scourge because, again, when Don was talking to On Tabletop, he talked about the Scourge behemoth, Josh.
Oh, apparently I need to watch this on Tabletop.
Or Don can just tell you instead of everybody else in the world.
All I'm going to say is one word. Tentacles.
I mean, this bodes well for the kaiju that we're all hoping for.
Sadly, it's not the turtle you were hoping for, but it's going to be cool. Yeah, so the
Scourge kaiju are really
they'll be Scourgy. They'll have tentacles, and the tentacles will be weapons unto themselves. So,
well, that's exciting. Now I'm paying attention to this podcast.
So
it's just going to be a giant squid. Don't get too excited, Josh.
Land squid.
It's going to be like Godzilla versus a sea monster. You're going to get the giant lobster.
So, but that's all I'm going to say about it right now. I don't want to ruin everybody's fun. So, I mean, Salute obviously is coming up, and then we have more digital releases going to be shown off as we finish up the book here. We're at the end of the play testing, and we've already well into the editing process for the book. So, Battle for Earth should hopefully be going to print not too far from now. But because we don't know what anything can happen at the printers. I mean, I don't know when Chinese New Year is, but that seems to always happen whenever we need something important. So
that's at the end of the Chinese Old Year.
Is that it is? Okay. Yeah. Whatever that is. I don't know. It seems like this like 5 times a year.
I believe it's in February, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
Not to cause offense to any of our Asian listeners. I don't know myself, so.
Okay.
I wish we had a tool at our fingertips that could tell us such things.
As someone who's getting plastic miniatures from China, Chinese New Year's always affects that.
That's what I'm saying. Every time I do a Kickstarter, it seems like it's delayed because of that. Or a
the next Chinese New Year will be Saturday, January 25th.
And I don't know. We might be printing it in the country. I don't know for sure myself. Yeah. But anyway, so before I ramble too far on about nothing here.
Before you say something you're not supposed to say, let's hop on to game recaps. Jordan, we're going to force you to talk because you ran a tournament, and that doesn't happen very often. So even though Josh set up the entire tournament for you, why don't you tell us about it?
He did not set up the entire tournament for me. He just did all the digital things.
Yeah.
Which, thank you very much for that, Josh.
Oh, not a problem.
So I think things went fairly successfully. We ended up with 5 Shaltari players, 2 Resistance, 2 Scourge, and 1 PHR player.
Man, only 1 PHR player. That's pretty.
You can tell what the broken factions are.
Well, we did have a few sign up and not make it. So who's to say what they really would have been?
You know, I played in that tournament and I didn't even realize that there were 5 Sheltari players.
Yeah.
You had more than one PHR player. There was the orange and white PHR faction, and there was Rasmus.
Maybe they got mislabeled then. I'm sure they did.
That's true. Yeah, there were 2. Then, yeah, it's the orange faction.
Because I keep an eyeball on the sphere. They came in next to first and worst place.
Next to first and worst place.
Yes, scratch that.
They were first loser and last losers.
One of those Sheltari should have been in a second PHR.
Yeah, Corey, I think.
Yep.
I know his army's gorgeous though. It's that orange with like the grayish white canopies.
Yeah,
it's a really nicely painted, nicely painted army.
They definitely stood on the table. Like you couldn't miss them. That's for sure.
I'm going to edit this file right now.
What file?
The
tournament record sheet.
Oh, okay. All right, because you had the wrong information on there.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how did the tournament go, Jordan?
Well, Patrick won.
This was your first TO experience, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but I've been around you guys enough at enough tournaments that it wasn't totally new.
He's like the New England Patriots of our drop zone community.
I'm just always there.
He deflates balls.
It's entirely possible. I don't know what he does in his free time, but
so yeah, I think everyone had a lot of fun. Had pretty decent feedback from the missions. I know I would have edited the first one a little bit different after we played it. Couple placements of a couple of extraction points I'd screwed up and didn't catch in editing when Josh submitted them back to me. But it is what it is. I think the new scoring system tended to work fairly well. And this is kind of our second go around with it after the Michigan GT. I think it kind of minimized the rubber banding effect of the old 20-0 system.
Yeah. I think overall the only really big complaint was the top table.
Yeah.
First and second place. So we're doing away with that since the community overall was not in agreement with it, and we'd like to listen. So.
Well, it does create some balance weight issues from game to game.
Well, the scores aren't out of whack. Like,
right.
Rob lost his first round game, but he still finished right behind, tying for basically third place, basically.
Yeah, it was like a point away or something, right?
Well, actually, just separated by like kill points and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, Patrick was our winner. And then due to the table setup and locking first and second to top table, Rasmus was our finished second. Otherwise, our friendly Overlord Shivak would have actually snuck into second if we did not have that stipulation.
And now that I'm looking at it, I was just 1 point from tying Patrick, so that's an achievement there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good job, man. So that was third for you then, right?
Yeah, I took third. I took Scourge, lots of them. Well, not a lot, but a heavy amount of infantry. Using the Overseer, and honestly, most of my infantry stayed at the walls almost every game, firing out the windows. It was different. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
So we had Sheltari, Scourge, and PHR in the top 3.
Yes.
Did we have a UCM player?
We did not, but Resistance was 4th. So the top 4 places were all different factions, and the scores were fairly tight in the end between all the
That's
factions.
That's what you like to see.
I'd also like to give a shout out to our best painted and our most sporting players this weekend. So most sporting was Corey. He was the one with the PHR with the orange and was it white that we were mentioning before?
Mm-hmm. Really nice models.
And then our best painted actually went to Christopher Gilbert.
With
And
his
he had a Scourge army.
Yeah, that was he was my pick. So we went through and did all. It was me and Andy did the voting for that.
Yep.
So yeah, it came down to details and stuff like that. I mean, as a painter, those are the things I look at the most. And I think he had a really nice looking Scourge army.
I know one stipulation we had. Here's a pro tip that if you ever want best painted at an official tournament, while we do not look down on anyone with unpainted models, you will not get best painted if you do not have a finished paint job.
What if you're like
correct.
Aaron and you have a model or an army that's painted to look like resin?
Right.
Very convincing paint job.
Right. We're stipulating a 3 paint minimum for best painted.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of whatever about like.
No, I don't think you can ever get best painted with 3 colors on your model.
I mean, that depends. Depends if you have 3 colors, but they're all shaded and highlighted.
Yeah, I mean, is black, gray, different gray, different gray, different gray, and different gray? I mean, is that 2 colors or is that 5?
Why are you calling out my UCM? They also have some metallic and some lens picked out with reds, greens, and yellows.
But in addition to giving a shout out to the players, I'd like to give thanks again to TT Combat, Mats by Mars, Green Stuff Industries, and Widget Wizards for so kindly providing price support.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Widget's stuff before, he has really cool tokens. I dig mine that I have.
Those sound like the same guys that are supporting Origins.
Yeah, nice chunky tokens. Definitely not going to lose or break them.
Yeah, he makes some quality material, and he definitely needs more shout-outs because I don't think he gets enough attention.
Yeah, the store's on eBay, by the way, if you guys are looking first.
He is on eBay? Jordan? Is it just? I thought it was just Etsy.
Or Etsy, my bad. Etsy's what I was thinking of.
What Rich over at Green Stuff send you, Jordan?
So he had some cool little custom-made 3D printed infantry bases. They weren't labeled, but I assumed that they were kind of, the patterns on them were like faction themed anyway, not necessarily faction specific. And then there was a couple of his smaller MDF buildings and 10 millimeter scaled crates and containers. I think there's like a small like power relay thing. It's got a round, kind of like an oversized ping pong ball, and then some structure that builds around it that paints up pretty neat.
Yeah, he's another one of those guys that just has a lot of really cool little add-ons for the game that doesn't get enough attention.
Yeah, definitely unique stuff on his end.
Well, his underground hangar, I mean...
That's a showstopper every time you bring that out. Everybody was like, what is that?
Right?
Yeah, I love that model.
It is the best thing to put on a table to get people to stop by. I mean, it's just...
So, yeah, his bases were pretty cool. We had a couple more Scourgy based, and then some Hex ones could be PHR.
Yeah, and then there was a couple other that were more like just great. Like, I don't know if it was just a general UCM/resistance, like industrial thing, but...
Okay. Yeah, those were all pretty cool. And then Mats by Mars gave us a mat and a voucher, correct?
Correct.
I really do adore Mats by Mars. I think they make some very quality products.
And then eventually, though, we'll hopefully get the sides sent out to them to do the zone ones once we get the version 2 all locked in.
Oh, that would be great.
And then Widget Wizards, he gave the tokens for like objective markers and all that. And then he gave like battle group markers, so you could label like, oh, this is the armor battle group, this is whatever battle group. It's kind of a holdover from 1.0 stuff, so kind of still cool tokens. I don't know that they're completely useless, but they're kind of in a weird spot right now.
Yeah, once we get it done, if I hopefully remember to, I'll message him directly and let him know how we can update his token sets.
And then also his blast templates, which are kind of neat because they have the cutout that fit right on a flight stand.
Yeah, I love mine. I have orange ones. They're nice bright orange.
Those are nice to have. I use that all the time.
Alrighty. Anything else, Jordan?
Yeah, not that I can think of tournament-wise, other than giving Derek another shout-out for helping provide tree terrain.
Yep,
You're welcome.
I'd like to add to that, if anybody wants to see the errata that was used at Adepticon, you can go to their website and just look for the player pack download section, and you can look at the drops on stuff.
Now, I'm correct, and you kind of have to piece together the core rules that are on the main TT Combat resources page
correct.
with the Adepticon pack.
Yeah, right? the core rules on there are an appendage to the ones listed on our website.
And I do want to give a final shout out to all the tournament players as a whole. In between rounds, they were all wonderful. By the time I had the scores entered in and matchups laid out for the next round, they practically had all my tables reset for the next mission. So they minimized a lot of the TO work that one normally has to do. So another big thanks to everyone that played. It was a blast.
Joshua.
Okay, well, for Drop Fleet, it was testing the Adepticon errata that made its way out to Facebook and everything. So that had all the stuff with Squadron, torpedo changes from Cleveland Clash, Fusillade on some Sheltari things and PHR items. So it was actually pretty well received. About the only thing that people had comments or concerns about were the UCM light torpedoes, and I sent all that information to Don, so we'll see if those stick around. But so for the Drop Fleet tournament, we had Patrick winning it with Shaltari. He had a very non-conventional list if you were to go off of the internet standings. He had, the Aquamarines that have Impel? I forget what those are, the Azurites or whatever they are.
Yeah, they're the cruisers.
He kept turning around people's dreads or battle cruisers or battleships throughout the day. So that was interesting. He didn't have a diamond in his list. He had the platinum. But he can talk about all of his shenanigans, because honestly, I didn't even really understand his list. Second place, we had a Scourge player, Andrew Yep. He had was it the Nosferatu's, the one with the burn through?
I believe so.
Tri-barrel.
Yeah, I believe so.
And then, no, I'm sorry. Second place was Sam Mostow with Shaltari. I keep forgetting the tournament rankings are not exactly as I've got it printed out on the sheet, because we were doing first and second place were at the top table. So Sam fought Patrick in round 3, so he took second place with his Shaltari. He brought the plutonium, the Shaltari Dreadnought. And I know I think it was game 2 against Rasmus, his plutonium killed about 1,000 points all by itself.
Dang.
So it's a potent vehicle. One of the themes for the tournament was it wasn't going to be your traditional standard scoring kind of options. We had the Traffic James mission, we had a Raise mission called a Breakthrough, and then we had Erupting Battlefronts Mark II, and all of the missions had the extra ability of being able to have incentive from bombardment, especially in the Breakthrough and Erupting Battlefronts. So we actually had people blowing up sectors all over the place. There were bombardment ships in this tournament. It was not a typical tournament, and I think everybody really liked the Raise format. I think everybody had fun with the Erupting Battlefronts Mark II. So I think those types of missions are really healthy. I think you could get a lot of diversity in a tournament if you just slot in some of these different type of lists instead of just doing Station Assault and some of the other ones.
What would you say is the rough estimate of players that took the Raise over the standard scoring?
It actually wasn't that. So I think there was about, in the one mission, because we only had Raise on the one mission, I think there was about 4 or 5 players that actually chose Raise.
Okay, so almost 50%.
Yeah. So that seemed like a good option there. I know in the game versus Kirill and Jesse, Kirill had the Havana swarms with all their light torpedoes versus a Remus. They nuked not nuked, but they destroyed all the sectors on turn 2, I believe. So they were then playing for kill points afterwards. But they had fun with that. So that was an interesting scenario where you've got the powerhouse Remus versus a whole bunch of destroyers going at it.
Yeah.
All the torpedo changes went through. So you had what was new for this tournament was the Scourge torpedoes act kind of like miniature bulklanders, and that how the missions were set up allowed for the Scourge players to get some scanning bonuses on their ships. The Banshees were running around with a 12-inch scan for their Scald range on their close action. So that was interesting, and the Scourge players liked it. Not so sure about people on the receiving end, but hey, you saw Banshees on the table.
Yep.
I don't think there was a single Akuma present.
That's good. Nice change of the meta,
Yeah.
It's good to see people are looking at what the changes we're proposing and then seeing new options out there to, play around with.
Yeah, I mean, it was not your typical kind of lists. I believe everybody had a lot of fun with it. It was well received when I was talking about it afterwards. The errata as it's currently out there, people seem to be really enjoying. So if you haven't had a chance, go on the Facebook page. I believe the errata is posted up there, or it's actually on the Adepticon resources page, like Don was talking about. And you can get a copy of that. It's got the FAQ and all the errata. It's basically your one-stop shop for where the rules currently are, because there was some old errata things that needed to be adjusted with the current errata. Yep. So this was a good test bed for the tournament.
And just to correct ourselves here, it was the Cthulhu with the Triad.
Oh, Cthulhu, yeah. Okay. I need to get more games in with my Scourging Dread.
Just for somebody rips on us on our Facebook group, I wanted to correct it.
Thank you, Don. So the Drop Fleet tournament was really a lot of fun. Dave Jessup took the best painted with his lightish blue PHR.
Yeah, I love that color he chose. They look great.
Let's see. Then
They're not red, but
yeah, they're not red.
they're okay.
Most sporting was Andrew Yep, and this I believe was his first tournament. Actually, that was something I wanted to bring up. So there are some common names that I'm used to seeing at the tournaments, but we had Andrew and Sam. These were newer players to me. I think they both started within the last year, and they did really well with Andrew taking third, Sam taking second. I was really impressed with both of those guys. I think Andrew is Rob and Jesse's buddy, so part of their group. But I was really impressed with their play and speed. Oh, speed! So we were doing 3-hour rounds. A lot of the games were actually finishing up around 2.5 hours for the people who felt more confident with the rules. But most of the games at least got to turn 5, even on the slower tables at the 3-hour mark. So that's something to look at. But overall, I was actually pretty happy with how fast some of the games were getting done on the tables.
Yeah, good. A few good comments about some of the things that were speeding things up. Ground combat being a big note from everybody that they really liked the way we made the changes.
I mean, it was really awesome to sit there as a TO and watch somebody resolve a ground combat and not have to sit there and like explain the rules. They just rolled some dice, got on with it. It was quick and easy. So
good, yeah.
And then I'll also echo Jordan's sentiment about the direction that the tournament scoring and stuff works. I like it a lot. I think it was pretty easy to punch in the numbers, figure out the scores. So I like the direction we're headed with that.
Good. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to take all the credit. Everybody, I go right to my group, which includes most of you guys. And, I get good feedback from that and new ideas, and then we hash it out. And, for the most part, we get most things right out of the gate. So that's pretty good.
It's hard being so awesome, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. Let's pat ourselves on the back here. You're welcome, everybody.
Oh, geez.
Don, I'm sure you got to run some demos this past weekend. Anything fun or exciting that you got to do while all these tournaments were going on?
Yeah, so let's see. We demoed Carnivale, first time at a U.S. show. Actually, sorry, second time. LVOE, we demoed as well. This was the first show I knew what I was doing, though. And then we did Rumble Slam, which again was a big hit for us, and Drop Fleet, which was the demo table for Drop Fleet was almost nonstop the entire time. I think we might have had a little half-hour stop here or there, but for the most part, it was pretty continuous. So I was pretty happy to see that, and then we had some pretty good deals on some of the Fleet stuff, trying to get some new players into the fold of things, and we did really well in sales, so we should hopefully see maybe some more new faces at next year's Adepticon tournament.
So I really didn't even get to step foot in the vendor hall, except for going over to the booth a couple times to grab random items. But from being outside of the vendor hall, I could not count how many people I saw walking around with zone starters and fleet starters. It would just appear like every 3 or 4 people that was back in that area of the 40K hall were walking around with starters. So, I mean, it looked like to me you guys were selling a ton.
Yeah. So, yeah, hopefully that yields more players, especially when we get second edition out. I foresee zone picking right back up where it left off. Well, I mean, we're going to lose some players. Every edition does that, but I think we're going to be picking up a lot of new players. So,
in comparison to the last couple of years, Don, how was this Adepticon?
Sales were the best we've ever had, so that's good.
Nice.
The booth was almost continuously busy. I was, other than Sunday, which is, they get a morning rush, and that's kind of about it anyways. I don't think we had more than, like I said, maybe a 20-minute break here and there.
And this is more of a shop question that most listeners probably won't care about, but how's setup and teardown now with the new cabinets?
Oh, it's amazing. Jordan can contest because he's had to do a lot of the
Record time.
Yeah. So even with the extra flooring that we are adding now, since we got our flooring last year, I mean, had we just like plowed through it and not went to lunch and stuff like that, we probably could have set up in maybe like 3 hours, Jordan.
Yeah.
And then teardown was only 2 hours because we had to walk a lot of stuff all the way out to the truck since we didn't have a dock space. Otherwise, that would have went in maybe an hour and a half. So pretty darn good. So I'm very much enjoying.
I just remember teardown from Origins last year being hell, and
yeah, I mean we
that's
pretty
what
much
I've had to deal with, and I'm like, no, thank you, sir.
So we boxed up the last little bit of MDF we had, then we shoved as many of the 2-player sets and other boxes into the cabinets, closed them up, took up the flooring, and I think the thing that took the most was probably just getting the stuff out to the truck. So
nice.
Yep. So definitely looking forward to the rest of the year, and as I fine tune everything.
To add on to since we're talking about Don running the demos, one of the rewarding things about working shows is kind of seeing faces and seeing some repeat faces. And one of my Drop Zone tournament players actually said, "Hey, do you remember me from last year when you ran me through a demo and taught me this game?" And he was back the next year playing in the tournament. So that was a pretty awesome thing.
Oh, that's awesome. Who was that?
Right?
Don't be jealous just because you don't get to help out at the booth with us.
No, it is cool, but it just seemed like an awe moment. So
yeah. No, it's definitely awesome to see your work rewarded. And kudos to you, Jordan, for obviously doing a very good job.
Yeah, right. Well,
yeah, you didn't screw it up.
I
mean, you actually brought somebody into the game. It's amazing.
1 out of 30 demos, I get somebody back to. What about all the demos they didn't buy the box and didn't come to Adepticon the next year?
Nah. Yeah. All right. Moving on from that stuff. Let's see, what do we have?
We go into because under game recaps I'm so lonely.
Yeah. Oh, I had another thing to mention to there. So we finally got to check out our good buddy Andrew Chesney's new company is Chip Theory Games, formerly of Warlord and formerly of the last year of Hawk War Games. So we're all good friends with him now, and he helped us out at the booth and let him sell a little bit of his board games there in exchange. And then we also got to check out his board game, Too Many Bones. I shouldn't say his, but his company's. And it was a lot of fun. We had a great time playing that game. So if anybody's looking for a good, what is it? It's a dice builder RPG. It plays very much like I would say it's almost wargamey in the way that it feels.
Wargamey / dungeon crawly.
Yeah. And then the dashboard is really cool because you get this neoprene dashboard and you have your dice in there. And you skill up on the dashboard like you would any video game RPG. So you have your tiers and you have to do one before the other, and then they skill up and all that kind of stuff. And it was a ton of fun. So that was Too Many Bones. So if you're looking for a cool new board game with high-end quality equipment and stuff to it, then check that out. I think
we'll
that
be
was
back after this commercial break. No,
that was pretty much the only game I got to play besides demo, so that's why I wanted to mention it.
Yeah, we didn't. We went and picked up the pizza, so we didn't get to play the camel race game.
Yeah.
Camel race game?
They're baiting you, Josh. What?
I missed the camel race game.
Was it called Camel Race?
I think it's called Camel Up or something like that.
Yeah, it was Camel Up. It seemed like kind of silly, stupid, easy, kind of blind fun.
It was basically a betting game with camel racing. It's kind of fun. Different ways you can bet on it and try to score. So,
all right. Well, we call that game recaps, or we got anything else?
No, I think that's it. Unless you want to talk about your loneliness.
No, man. I got nothing.
Hey.
Straw.
No, we didn't. We've recorded since we played last, haven't we?
Yes.
I was thinking we snuck some zombie side in, but no, that was before last recording.
Yeah. It's okay. Well, let's hop over to hobby. And other than building trees for Jordan's table, I mean, I was going to need them for my tournament in a couple months anyways, but I just powered through them, so you had extras. That's really the only hobby I've done other than painting a couple of Scott's Ravenloft figures. I haven't been down the table for a solid week now, so it's like my basement flooded or something.
Right. Hey, since you're mentioning it, we did have heavy rain at Adepticon, and I did come home to evidence of the basement flooding again.
You did or did not?
I did.
Mother cuffer.
Right. I mean, fortunately, everything that matters up off the floor. The only things
Fortunately, everything's been ruined, so
anything still on the floor is ruined, so nothing more was damaged.
Apparently every time you go to a con, it's going to storm.
Right. Seems to be the case.
Don's going to start paying for flood insurance when you go to these things.
Oh, man. That sucks, dude. Jeez. You just need to pour some cement down that hole.
I don't think it works that way, Don.
Not legally, but it will work.
I'm not a plumber, but I don't think it works like that.
So,
I may look like a Mario brother, but I'm not.
I actually had a little bit of hobby to contribute this time. It's been a little while. I got to build up the PHR Behemoth ahead of time.
Tell me, are your forearms massive and powerful from the weight of the model?
No, but my fingers feel stronger for all the pinning I had to do.
Did you find the pinning necessary?
You magnetize that?
I magnetized just the whole of it to the base plate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't magnetize the rest of it. I was trying to go quick. I only had a couple of nights to get it put together, so I didn't have time to really sink into it that much. But it was actually a pretty cool build. Even with all the pinning, I pinned everything but one dry fit piece, and the hole I did the magnet on, like I just mentioned. Otherwise, I pinned everything else, and it went pretty quick.
Did you find the pinning necessary, or is it something that people are just going to be able to assemble?
I just did it because I needed to be able to take it back apart to put it away.
Gotcha.
But no, it's literally all. The vast majority of it is ball joints and disc joints.
So I think some of that might come into storage choices per person.
Yeah, I would say at the very least you're going to want the guns and the legs to be able to come apart. Not all the parts of the legs, but to be able to take them off the main body to store. That would be the best way to do it. So you can glue everything up to including all the parts of the legs. You can glue all the main whole body stuff and even the core of the unit all together if you really wish to. I would leave the weapon option separate, not only that for storage, but also because the kit's going to have those removable for the two options.
And of course, we're only talking about the PHR Behemoth because none of us really know what the other ones look like yet. So.
Yeah, even I don't know what the assembly on those is going to be like at the moment. So
we're talking about the PHR Behemoth because it's the only one that matters, Jordan.
Oh, right.
Well, I would like to hear more about these Scourge things.
Well, there was the 30 seconds that the community thought that the PHR was the only one getting a behemoth, and we're rubbing in everyone else's faces.
You know, you PHR players should be ashamed of yourselves for not sharing.
I'm okay with everything about this right now.
Everybody gets a toy.
Just because everybody gets a toy doesn't mean any of them will be nearly as cool as the PHR ones.
So that's the extent of my hobby work for right now. But next week I have to get back to painting. So hopefully we can. Up.
Finish your thought.
Huh?
Finish your thought.
No, I'm done.
Okay.
Go ahead.
We're creeping up on the 45-minute mark, so I'm going to try to hustle us along a little bit more here. Jordan, I don't want to be sarcastic when I ask this, but did you have any hobby?
I did not have any hobby.
I know. It's kind of hard to be motivated when the rains keep coming.
I mean, I've started the movement of my hobby stuff from one area of the house, from below water level to well above it. So
blame it on the drain. Josh, have you had any hobby lately?
Just getting everything ready for Adepticon. Although, as we're doing this podcast, I'm assembling like 40 Carnivale miniatures because
I
picked
don't
that
blame
up.
you. I don't want to talk to us either. Who you playing in Carnivale, or do you have multiple factions, multiple games?
I've got the patricians, and so they've got like it's like the nobles and the city guard, and then they just put up a teaser I think yesterday about some hunting party models, which I thought looked excellent. So I'll have to pick those up at some point.
The Strigoi catch my eye mainly because I want to paint Dracula's brides. They look kind of hot.
Those sold out at the show.
Because hot, scantily clad chicks.
And Vlad.
Oh yeah, him too. Honestly, them and the Strigoi and the Richard looked the most interesting to me. The Dogmatist kind of struck me as cool, but I'd rather see some like Knight Templars actually wielding like swords and shields in there before I jump on them.
You like the creatures, don't you?
I don't dislike them. Like I said, the Dogmatist looked cool, but I wanted to see actual like knightly style characters in addition to, because I got the one guy that's got like the Crusader helm on, but that's really where the armory looks on him ends. If he would have had a sword hanging off his hip, they would have kind of drug me in. But
I believe they have a construct of some sort coming as well.
Yeah, I haven't delved in too deeply. I've kind of just eyeballed stuff as it came across the screen. I'll probably wait till Origins before I decide if I'm going to commit to anything. So,
Jordan, since you've actually got some demos in for Carnivale, what do you think of the game so far?
I like it. It's definitely a different animal. It's only been demo size, so I haven't seen the game full force, but I like the cleanliness of the rule set, I guess would be a good thing.
Yep.
Good way to say it. The setup, the way the stats kind of interact with each other is, I know Lewis is kind of a fan of not having tables and the just basically a dice pool versus a dice pool and comparing successes. It makes that very smooth and easy, and it's a nice, neat little setup.
Yeah, and everything's done on the aces in the game, which is 7 plus. Well, I shouldn't say everything. The combat's not, but everything else is, though. So, I mean, as long as you know your dice pulls off the top of your head, you know exactly what you're rolling, so it makes it nice and simple.
So, I am anxious to play a larger game at some point with the fuller spread of abilities to kind of get a real feel of the larger meta of the game, however you say that.
Yeah, and Josh, you got to play a little bit of it with Patrick.
Yeah, so it was after a long day, but the little bit I got to play was it was fun. I was just mainly trying to take in the rules. What was funny is there two of our buddies were there, and they had gone through a Carnivale demo, and they were helping Patrick and I go through it. So the two guys that sat in through a demo were able to replicate the rules enough for us to get through the demo and get some combat in. So that the rules are quick and easy. So I did enjoy that.
Yeah, that speaks volumes right there. That's kind of a cool little plug right there. They got a demo, and then they can help you play the game already. Did they get a demo from me, do you know, or was it from somebody else?
I don't know.
Okay. I was going to pat myself on the back, but...
Don't get ahead of yourself, Roach.
Yeah.
That was information that was not shared to me.
Well, I only did one Carnivale demo, maybe 1.5 the entire weekend, so it probably was not me. Yeah,
probably me or Andy then. Or actually, Nick. I'm sorry, yeah. forgot to mention next. So we had a new help at the two new guys at the booth, I should say. The Rumble Slam guy I'm sorry, his name is escaping me right now. But Nick did a couple days worth of Carnivale demos, and he did an excellent job.
Oh, can we talk about Rumble Slam for just like 30 seconds?
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. Alex had a pretty successful tournament down there, didn't he?
Oh, right. Yeah, we probably should mention that.
Yeah, so they were just wrapping up as the narrative event ended, and I tell you what, those guys over there was I forget how many, but there was a good amount of them, but they were all happy because I never knew what to expect out of a Rumble Slam tournament looking at it, but they were just sitting next to each other working through playing the game. It went by quickly, and everybody was having fun over there. I got to come over for the end ceremony awards. Lots of smiles all around, so I thought that was pretty impressive.
I know a lot of Alex's Facebook recaps of it. I definitely enjoyed his color commentary of the Rumble Slam tournament.
The forced poses, whether they were voluntary or not, were pretty fun.
Right. He was channeling his mean gene.
Yeah, I tell you what, even though Rumble Slam isn't necessarily my taste, it's quite enjoyable to be able to demo it and have a tournament for it because it's quick. Like every aspect of the game is fun, it's light, and it's meant to just be like a fun game. So, and it's nice to have a lighthearted game like that around.
Yeah, I mean, all the games are enjoyable, but Rumble Slam, it tends to put smiles on people's faces.
I even got a 12-year-old kid into it, and he kept coming back and forcing his parents to buy more. And it's quite hilarious. Brought his friends over, and he was showing it off. So that made me feel pretty good. Not that I was stealing his parents' money, but that I got a kid that excited into a game that he kept coming back. So
getting a kid that age, I don't want to sound like an old man here, but getting a kid that age into anything that's not digital is fantastic.
What's that?
Getting a kid that age into anything that's not digital is fantastic.
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I think overall, I mean, the show was just really successful. I think everybody enjoyed it. Lots of people asked for second edition, of course. So it was nice being able to see them in person and reassure them, and even talk through some of the reasons why that the book is taking a bit longer, which I've already mentioned on here once or twice. So
yeah, we don't need to rehash that.
No.
So let's speed along here. We're closing in on our hour target here pretty quickly. Salute is just a couple of days away. This will probably be up by Wednesday night, Thursday morning. So Salute is Saturday, right?
Saturday, yeah.
And TT Combat has promised big reveals. Don, what's the big reveal?
You'll have to wait. I'm actually not going to say. I know what it is, but I'm not going to say anything because we're only a couple days away. I don't want to ruin it.
The teaser video that went up on the Facebook and community page.
Oh yeah, Josh, thanks for bringing that up.
What was awesome. On the Discord channel, we probably spent an hour trying to figure out some of the stuff on that.
Yeah, it's the guys at the office are doing a really good job of putting these videos out. So, the two videos they've done for Battle for Earth have been really fun, and I think that's mostly in part to Jason over at HQ. So,
Sparkleberry, Jason?
No, different Jason. No, Sparkleberry is he does resin.
That's fine. We just got Sparkleberry out there in the internet again.
Yeah.
I don't know if you listen, man, but Sparkleberry never dies.
Yeah, I brought it up to Louie and Josh when we were at the Game and Trade show. I would have to say I was pretty disappointed that they did not know what Sparkleberry was. So hopefully they
took it back.
Have at least mentioned it since they've been back.
I mean, we were at Kuma's. We didn't even see if Sparkleberry was even available at this Kuma's.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
We didn't think to check, did we?
It definitely didn't pop out at me. I looked at the whole list. So
Well, I'm sure whatever the announcement comes out to be Saturday, we'll share it through the Command Value 1 group and, of course, on the other Drop Zone and Fleet groups. And we'll probably record early next week again to cover what it's going to be. Don, is it worth speeding into another episode?
Yes, absolutely.
It's that big a reveal?
Mm-hmm.
It's that big of a Battle for Earth reveal?
Yes.
Are they revealing Battle for Earth?
We've already revealed Battle for Earth.
Are they revealing a release date for Battle for Earth?
Oh, no, probably not. No.
More behemoths?
I'm not
Are
going to say.
Are they showing the turtles?
Yes, turtles.
Finally,
Definitely.
the giant space turtles.
Definitely the giant space turtles.
They're not Toho properties. Josh?
You say this like I should know what that means.
You should know what it means, you son of a... So after Salute, coming up in June, there's nothing between Salute and Origins, right?
Nope. Nothing. Well, I mean, I have the 1 day thing with the
Rumble Down Under or whatever. Yeah, Rust Belt Rumble. There it is.
Yeah, the Rust Belt Rumble for the name of the game is totally blanking.
Am I the only one here that plays Infinity?
Infinity. There we go. I have stuff and I have played.
Yeah.
So I kind of know what the game's all about.
I like Infinity, but I don't love Infinity. I don't know. I love Infinity models. I like the game.
Josh, you play a little bit too every once in a while, right?
No, I've got a whole bunch of the Hockey Islam guys.
Islam?
Hawk Islam, yeah.
The Hawk Islam.
I would play it. I just never had the time to get around to it.
Okay.
Well, the Origins event grid went live and pre-registration has started. So if you're thinking about going, you can go ahead and get registered now. But the event grid does not include any event ID numbers. For whatever reason, they released the event grid without the actual numbers that you need to sign up for events. They say this is because all the events aren't registered and they're still waiting on some of the sponsors to finish with their event registration, which was supposed to end back in April. Who knows?
Well, it's still April.
April 2nd, I'm sorry. It was their events were supposed to be in yesterday.
It's barely in April, actually.
Sorry.
Somehow we've traveled into the future to talk about the past to then travel back.
I'm working
to
ahead.
talk about it in the present.
Listen, Jordan, not all of us wait for someone else to prep their tournaments, okay? So the events are on there and booked. There's a Rumble Slam tournament, the Zone and Fleet tournaments, and then I think 40K Origins is doing some stuff as well.
Yep.
I have my tournament pack, I think, ready to go. Josh and Don, you guys both looked it over. I think I'm going to throw it at Patrick for a review, and I will probably start posting that sooner than later. It's 3 custom missions for each game. I'm sticking with the 500,000 and 2,000 point games. The nice thing about it is I got the time schedule together today, and round 1 starts at 9 and is over at 10:30. You take a half-hour break, so then 11 to 1 for round 2. Then you get an hour lunch, and then you've got 2 to 5 for round 3. So the tournament's going to be over by 5, which means whatever TT support they get, they can come to the booth and get and not be rushed.
Uh-huh.
So, and the nice part about it is, I mean, it's a 9 to 5 tournament. You got from 8 to 9 to show up for pre-registration, and it's just going to be, I think it's going to be a nice, easy event to run. I'm really excited to see how list building goes. Being able to customize your list across 3 different games. I think some games are going to be won in list building. I think the people that sit down and look at the mission and tailor the list for the mission, it's going to be fun to see that play out.
It's going to be good to see the fight between the cool toys and the things you actually need, you know?
Yeah, well, and I tried to leave the big game, the 2,000 point game, a little less of a complex mission and more of this is the game where you get to blow all the shit up.
Okay.
You know, because at 2,000 points, it's nice to be able to be like, yeah, I want to bring that dual Hades and the Tiamat and blow everything up. You know, if that's the route you want to go with. So then after Origins in August, we'll have Gen Con. And do you have an official event signed up for that now, Don?
Yeah, so they are submitted. I'm actually waiting for them to give me the final approval.
Are you just looking at 2 standard tournaments for that?
No. So what I'm doing is for Drop Fleet, we're redoing Patrick's scenario-based mission.
Echoes
of the Void or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So he's doing that. He's learned a lot from Adepticon. He's going to fine tune it a bit. So that'll be the nice, light, scenario-driven thing. And then for Drop Zone, we're doing a full 2nd edition tournament. I'm going to try and probably keep down to like a manageable size. I don't want to go like crazy 50-person tournament or nothing like that. Mostly because I have to bring all the stuff for it. And then Cameron, or Admiral Donk, if you want to call him, since we have 2 Camerons in our playtest group, is going to be doing our Donk. What's Donk?
But donk.
Nobody's actually answered my question if they know when I say donk, what I mean by that.
Isn't it just what you call Cameron? Right.
It's from Crocodile Dundee.
Is Cameron Australian?
No.
Then why do you call him Donk?
Because it was a random name I threw out there because we had 2 Camerons in the group, Cameron Bloom and Cameron Johnson, and then I said, well, one of you has to be Donk because we can't call you both Cameron.
Right. Well, Cameron used to go by like Camface, so.
Yeah, but Donk is much funnier.
I mean, I'm down with it. He said he might not make Origins. We were crying to each other on Facebook because he doesn't think he'll make Origins, and I don't think my wife will let me make Gen Con. So.
Okay. Anyways, he's going to be running the Carnival event at Gen Con. So we will have an actual event this will be our first U.S. event. It's going to be, I believe it's a 3-mission custom scenario-driven thing. It's not going to be like a tournament.
Don't you this up, Donk.
And then that bodes well for the game. It's not really meant to be a serious tournament game.
Right. All right.
And that is it.
Yeah, let's breeze into some final thoughts here. Josh reminded us at the beginning when we started recording that there is a Drop Zone /Fleet Discord. If you hit the main Drop Zone group, you'll find the link to that group in there. If you want to pop over there for some chatting, there's rule sections and list building and all sorts of random stuff in there if you want to check it out.
I actually didn't see that.
Yeah, Kirill even came into the beta group. He's like, hey, can we have a custom logo so I don't accidentally comment in the wrong group?
Okay, I'll have to check it out. I didn't even know. I knew that they were doing it, but I didn't know it was up.
Yep, it is up. I think you'll all agree it's fun to see some buzz going on in the community now. I've seen a lot of people who are building their armies, painting their armies, getting games in that haven't played in a long time, all because, V2's imminent now. We're seeing models and we're getting what resembles hard dates for stuff. I mean, so it's nice to see that that positivity growing and that negativity kind of slinking away. That's really all I got. You guys got anything for final thoughts? I don't have a soapbox this time. My headache is gone too that I had at the start of this. So it's all coming up roses now.
I'll just knock out that we did the Drop Fleet Drop Zone tournament stuff over at Adepticon. It was a ton of fun. There was a lot of people from the narrative event that just wanted to get comfortable with the rules and said that they'd be looking to do the tournament next year. So anybody who's looking at Gen Con and they're not too comfortable with the rules just yet, hop over to the narrative event. You'll learn the rules and have some fun and maybe play the next couple of days doing the Drop Fleet stuff.
I want to add on to that. For both games, you'll not find a friendly, and I'm not saying there aren't other ones just as friendly, but you won't find a friendlier tournament scene than the drop games. Not everyone that plays always has the crazy full-on mastery that some of the other players have, but everyone's always welcome, and everyone will kind of help you through, and even playing a tournament can be a good learning experience. So
that's how I started like 3 years ago. My first game was at a tournament.
I don't know what to do. Jordan piped up in final thoughts. This whole podcast is a confusion for me.
Right. Turn over new leaf.
Right?
Alrighty. All we gotta do is get him to actually do some stuff.
Don, you got anything to wrap us up with?
No. I'm just looking forward. I'm actually really looking forward to next week's recording after we show off what we're going to be showing off at a salute. And then I also want to mention that in addition to that, we'll have Patrick, who won the whole shebang at Adepticon, both first place in both tournaments and then first place for the overall winner. Which
Hashtag Nerf Patrick.
Yeah. I think we forgot to mention that we carried over the 2-day winner.
The points. Yeah.
The 2-day winner thing into Adepticon for the first time. And I think so far it's been well liked. It's not, you're not required to do it, but if you do both, there's a nice little incentive for you. There you go. So hopefully the UK will kind of pick up on that and run with it as well.
We shall see. Well, as always, please subscribe to us on whatever media you're listening to us on, review our podcast, and share to help get the word out and grow our sphere of influence. Jordan, it's got to be a sphere.
Can't be a cube?
No cube of influence. All right, gentlemen, thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule, especially after a long con weekend, to come in here and chat with me about all the fun you got to have, and for sharing with the community in general. Especially Josh, thank you for popping over and joining us to talk about the tournament. We always enjoy your company.
Oh, thanks for having me.
All right, guys. That's it.
We'll see everybody real soon this time.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in a few days. All right. Night, guys.
Night.
Night.
Good night.